Don't buy Bitcoin, says a German central bank. Yet a $10,000 investment in 2010 would be over $200 million today. Let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, together we're minting coins. So happy Mother's Day. I hope everyone's having a great day out there with their family. I had a great day celebrating with my mother and getting our family together and a little bit of barbecue. It was a fun time. Really appreciate, the generations getting together and having all the different generations mingle and having stories mingle. And, I remember being a kid and hearing a lot of stories about gold from my father and my grandfather. And it helps create a lot of context for me when I'm learning about the monetary system that we're living in and the gold system and the Bitcoin and blockchain system. So I suppose my kids, as they're growing up, they're going to be inundated with all of this Bitcoin and blockchain information as well. And then they'll be able to share the stories with their kids, what it was like, for me, their father, way back in the day, way back in 2017 or way back before 2020, before the next great halving when the amount of new Bitcoin being supplied into the marketplace is going to be cut in half. So it's big events are coming, big times are coming. Buy and hold your Bitcoin, dollar cost average. And with that, let's talk about Bitcoin. So we're actually hearing that there is more news coming out about some central banks saying don't buy Bitcoin. They go back and forth with the regulation. If Bitcoin is good, if Bitcoin is going to be accepted. The ETF, the Coin Winklevoss ETF in the United States from the SEC out of New York State in New York City was denied last month. And so on appeal, that's being looked at again, and a new decision will be made, or a second decision will be made, which I think it'll be denied again. So don't hold your breath. Don't give your hopes up on that. If the system allows Bitcoin to integrate early without all the regulation, then Bitcoin will destroy the US dollar. And so there's no way that the regulation is going to allow Bitcoin to really have the full freedoms without really having the infrastructure in place for the politics and the government and the banks to monitor all the transactions that are happening. In yesterday's video, we saw the FBI doesn't like that transactions are being made, and they don't know who is on both ends of these transactions. So with all that being said, let's take a quick look at the market and then jump into the news and let's discuss. So where we are right now with our Bitcoin price, it's just amazing, because in December 2016, what was that, a whole 5 or 6 months ago, Bitcoin was $800 a Bitcoin. And so 5 or 6 months later here, we're at $1,800 a Bitcoin. It's just unbelievable. Ethereum at $90, Litecoin at $28 with the SegWit activation. Seems to be fully working. People are putting lots of money behind those addresses and that technology, just tempting people to prove that it's unhackable. Dash still in parallel with the Ethereum. Monero shortly behind at $28, kind of at the same price point there as the Litecoin. All right, so Bitcoin's been kind of steady over this last 7 day. looking at the all cryptos over time, what do I see that's interesting? The Steam dollar over the past 7 days up 40%. The past 24 hours up 2.7%. Very strong. Bitcoin up 13% over the past 7 days, but really even over the past day and the past hour. Moving over to the dominance. We have this little drop right here. If I squeeze this down from the all-time to the 3-month, it's been going down, 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 down. It seems to be some resistance from that drop. So is it going to bounce back up at this point, or is there going to be a pulling into Bitcoin, or just more money coming in overall, or is this going to continue to drop in terms of the Bitcoin dominance, the percentage of Bitcoin versus the total cryptoverse? And so here we see the total market capitalization, excluding Bitcoin. Just a ton of money has been going into all of these altcoins. In total, the market capitalizations are huge. And where are we? The Bitcoin dominance has increased from 52% up to 53.6%. And past 24-hour trading is down under $1 billion. But the total market cap up almost $55 billion. Is just unbelievable, the amount of money that we're going in here. It's an unbelievable amount of money, but at the same time, Apple has the cash on hand to match this market cap of Bitcoin a few times over. How much longer that's going to be the case, it's unsure. But when we look at the market cap of Bitcoin in terms of your own analysis, when we can compare the market capitalization of these coins to existing companies and their market capitalization. So at the time that we see a parallel between the market capitalization of just Bitcoin, which is $30 billion versus the market capitalization of Apple, which is 7 times that, then that's going to give us an indication of the level of evolution, the level of sophistication that these coins are going to have, simply because these coins are going to take on lives of their own. Very decentralized lives, but they're going to be able to rival existing companies and existing infrastructure like no one has ever seen. It's going to be coming out of sci-fi. Ethereum runs itself, Bitcoin runs itself. People don't make the decisions for these systems anymore, yet we're interacting with them and they're gaining significant value. So in this article here that I was reading from News BTC, don't buy Bitcoin, says a German central bank. More accurately, the person that said this was Karl Ludwig Thiel, Bundesbank I was having a hard time there for a second. A Bundesbank board member. And so the Bundesbank is the largest bank, the central bank of Germany, and this is a board member on that bank, which presumably, as he's talking with the other board members and leaders at this central bank in Germany, he has insight into the perceptions and thinking and position of Bitcoin. And so he's quoted here as saying, Bitcoin is a means of exchange which is not issued by a central bank, but by unidentified actors. So that's true. Bitcoin is a means of exchange which is not issued by a central bank. No one controls it. We each have essentially equal share of control. And he's saying that he doesn't see it as a currency. He goes on to say, if you think Bitcoin would be safe as the euro or the dollar, you have to take responsibility for it. I couldn't agree with him more. You need to take responsibility. You need to take responsibility as soon as possible by listening to this video, by learning about this information, by educating yourself and sharing this information with the people in your community, your family, your friends. You're taking responsibility by purchasing Bitcoin and sending that Bitcoin to private keys, a private wallet that just you control. You are taking responsibility for it. So I urge you to listen to Carl Ludwig and take responsibility for your Bitcoin and keep it safe as your store of value in your private wallet, not in the exchanges. And then finishes up this quote, "We can only warn people not to use Bitcoin, not to use the Bitcoin to preserve purchasing power." So this is key right here. And this is really, I should have highlighted this a different color. They can only warn people not to use Bitcoin. They know they can't stop people from using Bitcoin. They can only warn people not to use Bitcoin. They're going to use this as confusion. They're going to tell people, the news is going to tell people, banks are going to tell people, don't use Bitcoin, to add fear to the market, to add uncertainty, to add doubt. Not necessarily for you or I, who are early adopters and understand what Bitcoin and what blockchain technology actually is, but to the 90%, the 80%, the 70% of the other people who just aren't sure of this information, right? Just like when the internet came out, wow, there was a huge percentage of the population that didn't get with it, right? That didn't get email, that didn't get their own website, that didn't comment on blogs or even read blogs necessarily. You know, there were amazing things happening online, and people were just not allowing themselves to be part of such amazing interconnected thoughts and ideas and feelings and emotions and business opportunity, just because they didn't understand that technology at the time, or you know, there was just a distance between the world that they were living in and the world that was, you know, burling down like a locomotive. It's like a rushing locomotive, you know, for the gold rush, if you will. So the point there is that, yes, take responsibility for it, and please recognize that there will be a warning against Bitcoin, and when that warning comes, the value of Bitcoin is going to fluctuate but ultimately increase, because people are going to recognize that Bitcoin is the safer place for them to put their money because of the deflationary aspects of the currency. And so let's talk about that a little bit more. And so while the German central bank and board members there are recommending that you don't buy Bitcoin, we see that a $10,000 Bitcoin investment in 2010 is now worth $200 million, while gold is worth a little bit less. So Bitcoin and gold are both considered prominent stores of value and safe haven assets. However, over the past 7 years, one experienced meteoric rise in terms of the market cap, user base, and the overall value. The other failed to live up to expectations, although, you know, gold and silver definitely has value. So to be exact, a Bitcoin investor who purchased $10,000 worth in Bitcoin in 2010 would have earned $201.56 million by May 13th when this information came out. In contrast, an investor who purchased $10,000 worth of gold in 2010 would have experienced a negative return of $9,981. Is that because of the gold? No, not necessarily, but it's because of the market that the gold is in. You know, they're able to make fake gold, paper gold, with these paper derivatives of gold, which is artificially increasing the supply of gold, in addition to the fact that it is possible for more gold to be discovered, let it be inside our Earth, which is very deep and very big, or let it be from an asteroid inside our solar system, which is also very big. So the perks of being in Bitcoin. So unlike gold, Bitcoin can sustain its value or even record an increase in its value over time because of its fixed supply of 21 million Bitcoins. And again, if a mass gold supply is ever discovered, then again, gold can become inflationary, like this old Twilight Zone episode. You can Google the Twilight Zone episode with the gold, where this, guy wakes up in the future, he's hoarding gold, he thinks the gold is valuable. You'll have to watch this whole black and white episode. It's kind of cool. And there's an example here in China where a province had actually found 382 tons of gold reserves. And then that could actually reach up to 550 tons once this exploration of this new gold reserve is completed in 2 years. And so that's additional supply being entered into the gold market. That's not going to happen with Bitcoin. As a matter of fact, the creation of new Bitcoin is about to be slowed down in 2020 when this next halving occurs. So the name of the game is for you to start buying at any amount of Bitcoin that you feel you can risk and invest, even if it's $20 a month, and then to buy and hold that Bitcoin, I would say, into at least after 2020, but it might be good to have it even longer than that for the long haul of 2030, when when Bitcoin could be $500,000 or $1 million or nothing. We don't know. So so that's one aspect of Bitcoin that is valuable, is that fact that it's reserved at $21 million. It's so large, it's so secure, because of the use of this cryptography. And so that's the second reason. The utilization of cryptography creates it and sets it up so it can't be seized by a central bank, a central authority, a central government, because the network itself, the network effect of Bitcoin, the security, the computers, the nodes that are mining Bitcoin, that are running the math to enforce the security of the entire system, is so decentralized. These nodes, these computers, these calculators are spread across the entire world, practically every single country, all over every single country. Even all the nodes within one country, like China, China wanted to control every single node in just China, even that would be extremely difficult because those nodes in China are so decentralized among themselves. So the fact that Bitcoin is so decentralized makes it extremely secure for you, for your transactions, for the value of the Bitcoins in your wallet. And so that makes it very strong, because central authorities can take gold, they can demand gold. Gold is a very heavy and physical sort of object. And furthermore, the third reason that this article points out from what they're talking about here is the settlement network of Bitcoin, which gold fails to offer. And so the settlement network, just really allows, the creation and the watching and the ledger of all this information. And all this information, what is that? All this information is your information. All this information is your value. All this information is your Bitcoin. All this information are the transactions that are happening all across the Bitcoin network. So just to recap real quick, what are these three? We have the fact that gold is, or not gold, but Bitcoin is limited to 21 million coins. That's going to make it deflationary, so the price increases because the supply of Bitcoin is never going to increase. It's decentralized, so for anyone to change these rules isn't going to happen. And the fact that the settlement network exists is a strong asset for everyone to trust, because this is the first time in human history that a group of people can trust transactions between any two of them without requiring a third party, without requiring a central authority to verify that the transaction or that the ledger is legitimate. And so this is the first time that we can have these transactions, that we can have a global economy where anyone in the world can transact with anyone else in the world, and these transactions aren't going to have to worry about the limits of borders or currency exchanges or paying middlemen. And this is just amazing times, because even if you live in America and doesn't affect you right now, and it doesn't affect you immediately, and it's really isn't going to affect you your entire lifetime, because everything's just going to continue being the way it is and nothing is going to change, this is still going to affect your kids, because I think, in my opinion, and the opinion of a lot of people, that a lot of things are going to change. So prepare for that, buckle up, pay attention, get more information. Consider clicking the link below and getting yourself some Coinbase, making a Coinbase account, buying and holding Bitcoin. And with that, we will talk about it some more, and we'll talk again soon. So let me know if you have any questions. Please comment in the box below. Hit that like button. I really appreciate it. It really supports the channel. And I want to continue bringing this information to you. And with that, also hit the subscribe button. Feel free to subscribe or hit the like button, or both, and let me know what you think in the comments below. And so with that, I really appreciate this time together. I'll be making another video soon. I have new information on the way, so stay tuned for that, and then we will talk again soon.